We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Okay, we're going to do a quick video on how to install a Demello 3-piece aluminum bumper on a 2008 FJ Cruiser. Removing the plastic bumper and replacing it with a 3-piece aluminum Demello bumper. We'll be taking off these bolts here on top to start, and then popping off these side pieces. You start with a 10 socket, a screwdriver. Okay, so we got out these 5 bolts here and the 1 pin there. So now we'll go ahead and go underneath and see what we're looking at underneath. These here, so there's going to be 6 across and then 2 on the outside, and that's this here. Okay, let's do it. The next part of the instructions says to remove these back caps. You remove this rivet over here, and then it says to use a reasonable amount of force to pry this off with your fingers. I might even stick a screwdriver in there, but there's supposed to be clasps along here and one in the middle. So let's give it a try. So, it looks like we got these up on top, 1, 2, and 3, and those basically just push in under here, and there's a little clasp under there. Okay, and then you got that guy, and then as you look in here, watch out for that wire down there. So we'll have to disconnect that wire. Here's where it connects. Push this in, and you can disconnect it from there. Same thing over here, you got these 3. You got that guy there, and we do have the exact same wire. So we'll go ahead and disconnect from right there, pop that off, and that might actually release the whole bumper. This thing is where you would, on your stock bumper, is where you would high lift jack from. Here's the tow hitch that I put on there. Disappearing tow hitch. The directions are calling for us to remove, I guess remove these, the wings. Basically, each of those has about 4 of these plastic clips that you pop out with a screwdriver. There is an extra clip here, and it looks like we have an extra clip here. So now, next, we're going to take these off with a 10mm socket. There's 4 of those, and then we're going to bend this tab down so that it's pointed vertical.
Order for
Here we go. This guy. We're gonna bend. That is now bent down. All of those tabs are out. The last thing for now is to remove these brackets on the outermost bottom edge. It looks like it's going to be the same 10mm socket. There's 2 bolts, and you won't need those later. So this is how to remove the backup sensors. The sensors are here and here. Turn the bumper over or underneath. You'll find a clip right here. Remove the wiring. It's a little push down toggle that pulls right off. That slides off, and now you can push the that and that. This slides out and this pulls out through the back. Okay, so now we're putting the sensors into the new bumper. So you've got the existing holes on the bumper which correspond to the holes on the old bumper. So basically what we're going to do is slide these through, and they're going to be pointing down towards the triangle. We'll clip back on the outside. That'll clip right on there, and we'll do both sides, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so now that we have the backup sensors installed on the new bumper, the next thing it calls for is the mounting brackets. So the mounting brackets are going to go in these 2 holes underneath the bumper, and they're going to attach to these 2 holes right here. Those are going to be with your 12mm bolts, and they'll screw in from the bottom here. It's the right side. Side does not have anything on it. I'm not sure if this is the same on all of them, but mine has a little grab, so I'm gonna have to take those off. It looks like 17 is gonna be the right size for that guy. So we are on bracket installation step. We're using these, I think it called it 12mm bolt. This guy goes like this, and it screws into these here. Just hand tight. You want these to be able to move around because they're not going to be secured until they're secured to the bumper. Okay, let's get a close-up of what we just did there. Okay, so here's the shackle, and then above it is the bracket. The next step calls for installing the bumper onto here. There's 4 bolts on the bumper that correspond to 4 bolts on the frame. As well as those 4 bolts, there's 2 bolts underneath that correspond to 2 bolts underneath on the frame. The issue I have is my hidden All-Pro tow hitch is screwed into those 2 spots. So unless you have the hidden tow hitch, you're probably not gonna have to worry about that. There she is. Current bumper wraps underneath, which adds about 1/4 of an inch to this here, so these back bolts don't line up now. So basically what I'm going to have to do is cut the bottom of the bumper to fit right there, but now it has to go on top of this, so these top bolts don't line up. So we drew a line on here, and we're gonna have to cut that little section out. It won't. Able to get it straight now. Come along this line here, and reconnect there and there. So that's what we're doing. Like that. Okay, so it's back on. Let's try that again. I think you get the idea. It says to install the bolts here and then put in the Allen wrench bolt on top through here, and underneath you have your washer and your nut. I've taken this bumper on and off so many times that I feel like I've installed it probably 15 times. One thing that I did notice that's slightly different than the directions is I think if you attach these side brackets to the bumper from the top Allen bolts on both sides, then slide it on, really attach it to the bottom with the bolts they give you for the bottom, those 12mm bolts, everything seems to go in easier as compared to the other way. So give that a try, maybe that'll work for you. The next thing it calls for is installing I think these are a 10, along the bottom with a washer and a lock washer. So the bolts underneath are going to be 1/2 inch or 13mm socket. You have the 10, the washer and the lock washer. And if we slide underneath the bumper here, we have one hole here and one on the other side. And that's where these little guys are going to go into. We'll go ahead and bang that out. Okay, so once you have everything on and situated, the Allen bolts, these bolts here, the bolts on the brackets underneath, and the bolts across the bottom. Then you go through and you tighten them up all evenly. It says on the website to tighten them as though you're tightening your lug nuts on your tire, and do it rhythmically. So that's what we're gonna do now.
Hello? Hello?
So what the directions don't tell you is that you'll have to leave the 12mm bolts on the brackets loose, because you'll have to take them off to put the side wings on and then retighten them. So So now we're gonna put the side pieces on. In order to do that, you have to put these caps back on. You're gonna have 4 bolts that's gonna come through here. They are going to secure on here correspondingly. And as well, we're gonna have to remove the 2 bolts from the bottom bracket that we installed. One of the very first things we did. We have to take those off right there. And those are gonna go to this guy. Okay, so these bolts come out, and then we put them back into this guy. Okay, so I would suggest putting the bolt in from the outside towards the middle. Okay, real quick, one thing that I noticed is that the bolts on the left bracket are too short because of the recovery hitch or shackle. So what I did is I took out 2 bolts from the center bottom, and for some reason they were about 3 inches, so they worked on there. And then took the ones that were from the left side bracket and put those back in the middle bottom. We're gonna work. It's cool that I had longer bolts just randomly in another location. That worked for that. And these 4 little guys go in there. I hooked up my tow hitch just for fun. I'm gonna hook up my trailer. This is the Demello 3-piece aluminum bumper on 2008 FJ Cruiser. Here's my tow hitch. He's the hidden tow hitch. That's where it links in right there. And that's it. Well, here we go. Thanks for watching.